I went there in 79, 77, something like that. So, we will proceed. I think you all know the words by now, correct? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ballava Girivaradhari Gopijana Ballava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ballava Girivaradhari Gopijana Ballava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivakacharya Starasi Simad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivakacharya Starasi Simad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai. Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sadhu Sangha Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda, Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Govika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 84th verse, chapter, verses 40 and 41, correct? Yes. So, as there's a lot of Sanskrit, I'll just read each line and then you repeat together, and then we'll move on. Tvam tvadya mukto dvabhyam vai risho pritror mahamate yagye devarnam unmuchcha cha nrino sharanam bhava. So I'll say the English, then you'll repeat after I've done the complete. But you, O magnanimous soul, are already free from two of your debts to those of the sages and the forefathers. Now absolve yourself of your debt to the demigods by executing Vedic sacrifices, and in this way free yourself completely of debt and renounce all material shelter. Please repeat. But you, O magnanimous soul, are already free from two of your debts, those to the sages and those to the forefathers. Now absolve yourself of your debt to the demigods by executing Vedic sacrifices, and in this way free yourself completely of debt and renounce all material shelter. So, number 41. We'll do the same system. Vasudeva bhavam nunam bhaktya paramaya harim jagatam ishvaram pracha sayadvam putratam kata. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. O Vasudeva, without doubt, you must have previously worshipped Lord Hare, the master of all worlds. Both you and your wife must have perfectly worshipped him with supreme devotion, since he has accepted the role of your son. Please repeat. O Vasudeva, without doubt, you must have previously worshipped Lord Hare, the master of all worlds. Both you and your wife must have perfectly worshipped him with supreme devotion, since he has accepted the role of your son. So, purport Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti paraphrases the sage moods as follows. We have answered you who question us in the matter of ordinary discourse, in the same ordinary way. In truth, however, since you are the eternally liberated Father of the Supreme Lord, neither worldly customs nor the injunctions of the scriptures have any authority over you. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the very name Vasudeva indicates that Vasudeva manifests brilliantly Divyati, the super excellent wealth, Vasu, of pure devotional service. In the 11th canto, Narada will again meet with Vasudeva, and at that time remind him, Devashi bhutatma nrinam pritrinam nakinkaro nyayam nrinam cha rajan sarva manoya sharanam sharanam yam gato makundam parihritya kartam. Translation. O king, One who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even his forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. Bhagavatam 11.5.41. So that's the conclusion of the purport. Mukam karochi vachalam bhangam laite girim yad kripa tamaham vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam. Tvam twadya mukto twadbyam vai rishi pritro mahamate yagye devanam unmuchya nrino sharanam bhava. Vasudev bhavam nunam bhaktya paramam ya harim jagatam ishwaram prachaha sa yadvam putam gata. Translation again. But you, O magnanimous soul, are already freed from two of your debts, those to the sages and the forefathers. Now absolve yourself of your debt to the demigods by executing Vedic sacrifices, and in this way free yourself completely of debt and renounce all material shelter. Yes. So this is taking place in Kurukshetra. That's the title of the chapter, The Sage's Teaching at Kurukshetra. And it is taking place after the big Mahabharat conflagration there, the big war. Previous to that, Parashuram also polished off 21 generations of Kshatriyas. They had insulted his father. They wanted to take his Kamadhenu cow, and there was a big conflict. So Parashuram, his Shaktivesh incarnation, for 21 generations, killed off the offender, the Kshatriyas. That is the problem with people who take rulership positions. Often they become intoxicated by some imagined power. We see that practically. And pride comes before a fall. Even at the end of the 12th canto, the Vrishnis in Dwarka came before the sages, and they had dressed one of Krishna's sons, Samba, as a girl, as a young beautiful girl, and they approached the sages. "Oh, dear sages, this is a very beautiful girl. Can you arrange for her fruitful life? Can you give us a blessing?" And they were smirking, and it's called Dupa's delight. When people tell lies, inevitably they think I'm very clever, cheating people, and they smile. So the sages, they're not to be fooled, because they don't just hear words, but they can perceive the minds of people behind those words. So they cursed the Vrishnis. They said, yes, this person will give birth to a pestle that will grind your dynasty to the end. So Vasudeva heard that actually. He took, and Samba did somehow or other give birth or manifested an iron pestle. So Vasudeva ground that to pieces powder, threw it in the water at Prabhush, that's mentioned, that's on the seaside. And that was thought to be the end of the Kesi's sage. But those particles, they were washed ashore and they grew into sharp blades. They took entrance into the grass there on the seashore and became hard as spears. And one day the Vrishnis were there thinking we're having a good time, taking intoxication. Actually, after the curse of the sages, Vasudeva, through Krishna, banned all intoxicating drinks in Dwarka. But still, they were drinking there in Prabhashetra, trying to be clever. And then a fight broke out and they killed each other in the madness of anger and intoxication. So, don't upset the sages. That is the central lesson. Who is a sage? Brahmana Janati Brahman. A sage is somebody who knows the absolute truth. The absolute is Krishna. The absolute truth, Param Tattva, is unconditioned, without limitation. He has no limitation. He is self-sustaining. He is the source of all limitation. In the material world, space and time, life. He is the limitation of all beings, but he is also the maintainer and the expander of the being's happiness. So those that recognize the position of the sages are recognizing the position of the Supreme Lord. And if the Supreme Lord is not recognized through recognition of the sages, the Brahmanas, the true Brahmanas, those that know the absolute truth, then it is a very unhealthy situation, because the Brahmanas, they propagate knowledge of Brahman. The Vedanta Sutra starts, Atato Brahma Jignas. Now you are a human being, regulated in some way, and the commentaries on that first verse say that Atato means not just now you're a human being, but you're a regulated human being, and you're living in a certain piety by recognizing Varnashram and the duties of different categories of people. And Atato, therefore, you are purified to a certain extent. So now you can inquire fruitfully into what is Brahman. So this is very interesting how Vedavyasa said this. Brahman, that which is supreme. He is not sectarian. Actually, every living being in the world of some intelligence is wondering what is the explanation upon which everything rests. What is that supreme understanding that explains everything? So even the atheistic material scientists, the speculators, the hippies of old, the new generation, whatever, men, women, even children, they wonder at some point, what is the cause, what is the explanation of this phenomena? So then Vedavyasa answers, Janmadhyas yata. That which is supreme, Vedavyasa defines as that from which everything has emanated. So we can see just in 2 verses the sublime nature of the Vedic knowledge, right? in 2 short sutras, compressed, Vedic verses, concise, Vedavyas has answered that question. And what is the Supreme? The Supreme is that from which everything has emanated. So that is Param Tattva. Krishna explains in the 10th chapter of the Gita, I am that Supreme. Nobody in history has declared such openness. Aham sarvasya prabhavo, matak sarvam pravatite, iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samandita. That if you understand that I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds, janmadhyasyata, and if you understand that nicely, then bhakti will grow in your heart. Iti matva bhajantima. Those that know this nicely, Buddha, they take to bhakti. Because the realization of the supreme position of the Param Tattva naturally evokes bhakti, devotion. Just like in this material world, if we see people that manifest different opulences, beauty, skill, sports skill, wealth, whatever, fame. Some people are famous for being famous. But if we see opulence, we naturally, it catches our mind. So when we realize that Krishna is the source of all opulence, and all opulence is emanating from him, both gross and subtle, then naturally our mind focuses upon that Supreme Lord. Therefore, the first stage of bhakti is that, to realize that Krishna is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, that Krishna is actually the Supreme Source. Therefore, after the universal form, Arjuna, in his ecstasy says, Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. That you, O Lord, you are the supreme shelter. You are the supreme Brahman. You are the supreme purifier. Now I have seen your position as Virat Rupa. How everything in this material world and the battle itself within which I will partake is resting upon you. So this puts aside all his material confusion. Oh, my brothers, my Guru, Duryodhana, Drishtadyumna, I don't want to fight. This is material weakness, born out of ignorance, tamagun. Of course, Arjuna is a great devotee. So this is under Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. This is to bring out the supreme position of the Supreme Lord. And so in the 11th chapter we see, yes, Krishna is Matak Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Nandaya Supramani Gana. Everything is resting upon Krishna as pearls are strung upon a thread. So this is the point of the verse here. That once you have that realization that Krishna, everything is resting upon Krishna, then you become devoted to Krishna. But Krishna earlier, to prepare us, says, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, that I am the supreme friend of everyone. So Krishna is the absolute truth, but he is well disposed to all living entities. We don't have to consider that this person with ultimate power is neutral, unfeeling, malignant. No, he is our well-wisher. So the sages, the Vaishnavas, as Prabhupada used to sign his letters, are the well-wishers of mankind. They are the embodiment of the sages, of the Supreme Lord's kripa, mercy. And for the conditioned souls caught in the illusions of Maya and samsara, that is the most important aspect of the Supreme Lord. Because though we perform sadhana bhakti, though we perform practical services and so on, the fruit is not mechanically or automatically manifest. It is manifest by the kripa of the Supreme Lord. Therefore there's that verse, Atakshri Krishna Namadi Na Bhavagrayamendriya Sevan Mukhi Jivado Swayameva Spurita. Jiva, yes. So, yes, through the senses and engaging the senses and working hard and studying the Shastra, we cannot understand Krishna. We cannot realize Krishna. In the Gita, Krishna explains, Matak Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So I am within the heart of all living beings, and understanding, knowledge, forgetfulness, remembrance, that comes from me alone. Everything rests upon me. For example, we're reading the Bhagavatam, but what is that? This is ink upon a paper. But we read, so what is giving us idea, enlightenment, from looking at ink upon a whitish piece of paper? That is Krishna within the heart. He is giving understanding by which we can come closer to Him. And he explains in the next verses, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritibhorvakam, that if you worship me in knowledge, maksitam adgata, that is abhideya, if you're always discussing and inquiring about Krishna, and you're doing that with bhakti, pritipurvakam, then I will reciprocate. Dadami buddhi, and that's his reciprocation. Within the heart, I will make you a realized soul. I will give you all guidance by which you can come to me. And then he emphasizes the point, Tesham evanikam patham aham ajnana jamtama nashyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena basvita. I within the heart, out of my mercy, I enlighten people with the shining lamp of knowledge. So this point is very important to understand, because we, at least myself, we're sadhakas, practitioners. In the Prema Vaibharta, Jagadananda Pandit, Satchibama, in Dwarka Leela, he explains very carefully that there's two types of devotee. There's the Siddha and the Sadhaka. The Siddha has attained bhava, realization of Krishna, and by realizing Krishna, he is Jivara Swarupo Nichera Krishna Das. He's in realization of his relationship to Krishna. This is another point many apasiddhanta going around. People think, I will meditate on myself in Goloka. No. Realize Krishna, and then you'll realize your relationship with Krishna. That is part and parcel. If you're not realizing Krishna, how will you realize your constitutional relationship with Krishna? So we perform sadhana as yajna, but mam namaskaru, we perform sadhana as a humble offering to the spiritual master, to the Supreme Lord. And as Lord Chaitanya says in the last verse of the Shiksha Shaka, Alishyava Padatam, whatever you want, Krishna, you decide. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Manasa Deha Geho, whatever you decide, you take everything, I surrender everything to you. It belongs to you. But now that I have only one request. If I'm to be born again, let it be within the house of a Vaishnava, so that I can have sadhu sangha, and maybe I will be an insect and take his prasad. So this is the attitude of Mam Namaskaru. We approach Krishna and say, and we approach the Guru and the sages with that attitude. By your mercy. So this scene here in Kurukshetra, it is a very colorful scene. The Brajabasis have come. The Vrishnis have come from Dwarka. Different kings are described to have come. Then the sages come. And Vasudeva, the leading personality. Now we should understand, we mentioned the Brajabasis and Vasudeva, but we should understand their relative position, because Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda are there. So in the 10th canto, discussing in the purports of Vishwanath Chakravarti, he explains something very wonderful and intriguing. That when Krishna appeared in Dwarka, simultaneously Krishna appeared in Gokul, that is Mahavan, just a bit north. Yes, a bit south from here, 20 minutes. He appeared simultaneously, and he appeared with Yogamaya, because Krishna's personal energy is Radharani. One aspect of that is Yogamaya. Everything is engaged around Krishna with Yogamaya. So simultaneously he was appearing as son of Vasudeva, and which in Sanskrit means Vasudeva, long A, and he was appearing as the son of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. So we know the story through mystic Yogamaya. Vasudeva was freed. He took Vasudeva Krishna to Gokul, Mahavan, and it is said that the Jamuna was rising, and then Vasudeva understood Jamuna is rising because she wants to touch the lotus feet of Krishna. And then after that, Anantasesha appeared and took Vasudeva safely through the waters. He came there to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda was asleep, tired after the birth labor. And at this point, Vasudeva Krishna reunited with Goloka Krishna. And then Vasudeva took Yogamaya to Mathura, and then she appeared. The gods told Kamsa, there's a child crying. Kamsa came, but then he hesitated, seeing a baby infant girl. And then she rose up and she said, Kamsa, you fool, the person who will kill you is born elsewhere. You are doomed, Kamsa. And she was given the name Annapurna, Kali, so on and so forth, Durga. She appeared. So, how do we understand that? Well, original Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He never leaves the heart of his most dear devotees in Vrindavan. He only appeared to leave Vrindavan. He only appeared to leave. And it is explained by the Acharyas that he hid himself Uddhava stopped and there was an exchange there. He hid himself in the heart of the gopis. The gopis have captured him in their hearts anyway, but he hid himself in the heart of his gopi. And so then Vidura continued. Was it Vidura who took Krishna to the... Akura, that's it, sorry. Akura, and he polished off Kamsa and so on and so forth in the wrestling arena. Then there was a lot of trouble with Jarasandha, and then Krishna went to Dwarka with the locals there. So it is that is Vasudeva Krishna. That is the expansion of Krishna. There is a Chatuvyuha expansion, Vasudeva, Shangashan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So Vasudeva is Krishna's expansion outside of Vrindavan. He never leaves Vrindavan. He is not able to leave Vrindavan because he is captured by the devotion of the Brijvasis. Gopijana Balabhaya. He is the lover of the gopis and he is the beloved of the gopis. So he is always within Vrindavan. But for Leela, Vasudeva Krishna expanded again out. So at Kurukshetra, Bhagavad Gita, that is Vasudeva Krishna. That is not Gokul Krishna. That is, he is captured in Vrindavan, and Vasudeva Krishna, he is speaking Bhagavad Gita, staying in Dwarka, marrying 1,108 wives, becoming a prince. So when he went to, when Krishna went with the Vrishnis, headed by Vasudeva, they met the Brijavasis. And there was a wonderful exchange that the Brijavasis, they met the Vrishnis and they discussed. I think it's in the earlier part of this chapter. And it's very touching. At one point, a few chapters earlier, there is a chapter and Krishna speaks privately with the Brijvasis and particularly with the gopis. He explains that we are eternally bound together. Please do not feel that you have lost me. He did eventually return for 2 months. He killed Dantavakra and another Asura in Madhuban, up the road there. So, this interchange of the Vrishnis and the Vrajabasis, this is the origin of Rath Yatra. You see, there is a verse written, and it's quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a verse written by Rupa Goswami. He wrote one very esoteric, very secret rasa verse, and he put that verse in the roof of his kutir. And that was found by Lord Chaitanya. And he read it. Now Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of Radharani. He read this verse. How have you understood my heart? As Radharani, how have you understood my heart? So what is that verse? You can look up in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is a verse, Rupa Goswami is speaking the words of Radharani. And Radharani is saying, you're now a young prince here on the great battlefield of Kurukshetra. You're surrounded by many soldiers, bugles are blowing, gold is all over the horses even, you're decked in wonderful way. But I want to take you back to Vrindavan. I don't want you in this way. I see in your eyes that you are hankering to come back to Vrindavan and be with your devotees. Now the important point is that Radharani, this is pure bhakti, she is not thinking, let's bring Krishna back to Vrindavan so we can enjoy him. She's not thinking like that. She's thinking, Krishna now, it's not the real Krishna that we know from those moonlit nights within Vrindavan. This is Krishna surrounded by pomp and ceremony. We want Krishna by the bank of the Jamuna in the moonlight, where we can play music and hear his flute playing. And we want to make him fully happy. So their attitude is to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan so that they can make him fully blissful and happy. So this is another very important contemplation that we must have when we are sadhakas. We must realize the purity of these devotees, the Vrijavasis. They are not considering their own embellishment, their own enjoyment. Oh, I want to increase my bliss. They want to render that improvement, embellishment to the Supreme Lord and his beloved devotees. This is the mood of Vrindavan. So that verse, Lord Chaitanya saw it and said, yes, that is my mood. I am the biggest thief. I have captured the greatest thing, the mood of Radharani. And now you have understood my Radharani. Because there are three internal reasons why Lord Chaitanya appears. One of them is he wants to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. He wants to understand. He wants to relish the nectar that she feels based on that mood. What is it? And he wants to understand what is so attractive to me, of me, that Radharani is so entranced with me. What is that mood that she has? So when Lord Chaitanya read the verse of Rupa Goswami, he could understand that he was fulfilled in that desire as Krishna. I want to understand how Radharani feels towards me. What is the basis of her bhava? I want to feel the bliss. I want to experience the bliss. I see that my devotees experience more bliss than me. That's his humility, the unlimited and limited. And I want to understand what it is. So what attracts Radharani is not pomp and ceremony in Kurukshetra. So the Jagannath festival is the desire of the Brijvasis to take Krishna from Dwarka in the big temple at Jagannath Puri and take him, pull him to Gundicha, which is Gupta Vrindavan in Puri, and there serve him. So Lord Chaitanya, he cleaned the Gundicha temple, all his devotees, and then he danced in ecstasy. And as he danced, tears came and purified everyone. And he took Lord Jagannath back to Gundicha. It is explained that by the acharyas in the scriptures, how that form of Jagannath is there. When Lord Chaitanya went to see Jagannath, he saw Shyam Sundar. But we see Jagannath with his arms in this way. and he seems to be in a different shape to our. So the Acharyas have explained that in his ecstasy of remembering the Brijabasis, Shamsundar is unable to maintain his Tribhanga, his form, and his arms are reaching out to embrace Vrindavan and the Brijabasis. This is the poetry of the Acharyas explaining the form of Lord Jagannath. So this is also another point, which is there earlier in the class, that the devotees of the Supreme Lord, if we please them, automatically, so to speak, Krishna is pleased. Therefore, we must take shelter of the great devotees. And this is what is here. The Vasudeva, acting as a normal person, a normal, ordinary person, is saying, when the sages arrive, the kings are there, the Vrishnis are there, the Brijabasis are there. He is saying to them, please don't go just yet. Please instruct me. We are Kshatriyas, and because of being a Kshatriya and having to rule, we have to do many things. We have to deal in diplomacy. Sometimes negative people are around us. Sometimes we have to manage according to what is possible, not what we want. Because management is the art of the possible, not what should be done many of the time. You have to, when you're a manager, you have to balance many factors, because no manager is absolute. They may, during the election period, say, I will do this, I will do that. But when they get into office, they're told what to do, by their wife even. So, management is the art of the possible. So, Vasudeva is making this point. We are Kshatriyas and we're having to do all this. Now, how can we become peaceful in our mind? Because we have to do so many things. So the sages say, and Narada comes across and he says, well, actually, Vasudeva, you are the father of Vasudeva Krishna. We know now. And as the sages say here in the verses, you must have worshipped the Supreme Lord with supreme devotion to get such a role, to get such a position. But now out of humility, and maybe thinking that Krishna is just an ordinary son, you are inquiring. That is your humility. And the sages repeat that message of Narada, and they said, you are a great soul. But now, following those rules and regulations is Shrama Eva Kevalam. It's just a useless waste of time. The purpose of all activities is Shravanam, to hear about Krishna and enjoy that and discuss that and become realized in that. Puranika Dunodita Kalo Asmin. So this is the message of the Bhagavatam. Vishnu, Krishna, he is to be worshipped. And as Prabhupada explaining in the purport, Devashi Rinam, that if you worship Vishnu, then all other obligations are there. So in the Vedas, there are two dharmas given. One is Varnashram Dharma, and the other is Sanatan Dharma. And that is emphasized by Lord Chaitanya. Varnashram is very difficult. So what we do, under the direction of Srila Prabhupada, is we follow a combination. We follow 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds, that's 20. Then we chant 3 mantras, that's 23. Then we study the Shastra, that's 24. Then 25, we propagate. Because Lord Chaitanya gave that order, wherever you go, whether you must propagate this knowledge. That's our duty. That's 25. Then 26, Asat Sangi Chagi. So this regulated or Vaidi procedure is the fort within which we practice Sanatan Dham. Sanatan Dham is Sanatan. It is the activities of the transcendental realm. It is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. We sing every day. The Guru, Nikunja Yuno Ratikeri Siddha, he's serving within the spiritual abode. So Sanatan Dham is protected by the fort of regulated Vaidhi Bhakti, and within that we practice Sanatan Dham, which is based, as given by Prahlad Maharaj, on hearing, Kirtan describing Krishna, Smaranam remembering Krishna. And it means a progressive realization, which said earlier, we want to realize Krishna. First realize the presence of Krishna in his name. Then realize the form of Krishna. You can read the 13th chapter of Uddhava Gita, 11th canto, and then you can explain how to remember the form of Krishna. Then you should remember the qualities of Krishna. Prabhupada has given in the Nectar of Devotion translation there. Then you should understand the parishads, the associates of Krishna. And then you can understand the Leela, Ashtakala Leela Smaranam. Prabhupada recommends the Krishna Bhavanamrita. He mentions that in the Krishna book. So this is Sanatan Dham, and by the purity established by Vaidhi, we can develop Rag. Because that means, Rag means attraction. You cannot attain attraction to Krishna's name, form, quality and pastimes if you're sinful. So you have to follow regulative principles. You have to chant for purity. You have to have a regulated life, a satsangi chagi. That is number 26. Then you can develop Rag, and that is the basis of Sanatan Dham. And then you can go back home, back to Godhead very easily. So this point here is given. You must worship Vishnu. But Narada Muni is saying, but he is already a sublime devotee, because he has already worshipped the Supreme Lord with supreme devotion. That means with Rag, Rati, Bhava, with Prem. And because of that prem, Vasudeva, in his humility, just thinks, Krishna is my son. He is Tivara Svarupoi. So we should always remember that we all have a constitutional relationship. It is inbuilt to the soul. And if we follow in knowledge the practice of Vaidhi and sadhana, rag sadhana, in this way, we will attain perfection. But we must realize that I will not go into the spiritual world like a conqueror because of my austerity and my knowledge and shastric gyan. I will go to the spiritual world and realize Krishna by the mercy of Krishna and the mercy of his devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. If you have, I don't know what the schedule is, but we'll have 2-3 minutes of questions.
I have one comment. You mentioned about serving the devotees. So when Gopinath Acharya and Sarvabhauma Acharya, they were battling it out. But then when Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sarvabhauma Acharya, came together, that Sarvabhauma Acharya surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Gopinath Acharya said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Oh, by your mercy you saved Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. No one else could do that." But Lord Chaitanya said, "No, by your mercy, by the devotee's mercy, Gopinath, by your desire, he was saved." So I just wanted to add that about that.
That reminds me of Ramananda Roy. He heard about the wonder of Lord Chaitanya from Sarvabhauma. So he was searching for Lord Chaitanya. Of course, this is Leela. And they met on the bank of the Godavari. And they had a wonderful conversation. I was going to mention a bit of that, maybe that in the next class. The relationship of Varnashram and the higher realms of devotion. But this is the point. We should always remember this. Yes, we perform sadhana very attentively, and by taking it as the order of Guru and the Vaishnava and Krishna, that is how we get Seva Bhav. In the material world, everyone is trying to serve themselves, like I said in the class. But in the spiritual world, everyone is trying to serve the other, Krishna and his devotees. So we should contemplate this fact and appeal, just like all the bhajans, if you go through Narottam's bhajans and Bhaktivinoda's bhajans and Prabhupada's classes, it's based on mercy, and that mercy goes to people with one word. Sevaradi koro diye. We sing to Tulsi, right? Moraye abilas. What do we sing every day? Ye prashade pure asha. We should always remember that everything is coming by mercy, and we must desire that mercy. Lolam, right? Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda has opened a marketplace. He's selling the holy name. Do you have to pay 1 lakh?
10 lakh.
You must play. You can give that donation to Panchagoda. He'll be very happy. You must practice lolam, desire. You must desire. And then Krishna will give you. What does he say? Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Yoda Dadati. I fulfill the desire of everyone. Right? Didami buddhi yogam tam yenamum apiyantite. Why? Because bhajatam priti purvakam. So we're doing sadhana, but we must do it with priti purvakam. Our hearts must be full of love. Even if it is just a conception, a neophyte conception, and then Krishna yeyatam mam prapadyante, he will respond. if we perform sadhana bhakti, oh, another Mangal Aarti, another Guru Puja, if we think we're just mechanically going through bhakti, that's the reciprocation we get from Krishna. But if we go through bhakti thinking, oh, Krishna, Prabhupada, give me a little mercy. I have lolam, but now I've got some mercy. Now I have lobha. I have greed. Because I've tasted a little mercy, I'm greedy for more. So we must cultivate this mood. And then Krishna will respond. Because, as we said at the beginning of the class, Krishna is unlimitedly merciful. And that mercy is there in Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, and his pure devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you all very much.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
Donations you can bring to the temple president's office.
Okay, see you again. Friday, 6 o'clock, Gita class. Oh, thank you.